Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sovereign Syndicate Game Developers Journal. My name is Isaac, and I am the founder, executive producer, and creative director for my new startup video game studio, Crimson Herring Studios. And Sovereign Syndicate will be our first video game. Before I talk too much about the game, though, I want to talk a little bit about me and sort of what inspired me to make a video game and start my own company. So I am 37 years old. I am a husband and father. I have two young children, and I have a 9-to-5 job. So I think like a lot of other people, after high school, I sort of fell into my career and education and wasn't very intentional about what I was doing. And so now that I'm more comfortable in my family life and in my career, I decided it was time to really take a look at being more intentional about my time and make some more decisions about what kind of other interesting projects I could get involved in. Last year, I started work on a children's book because I'd been doing so much reading to my young kids and learn more about early childhood literacy. Inspired me to write a book for my children. And, you know, it was a really interesting project, again, that I was really intentional about, that I really enjoyed, but it was also very different from what I do, right? I work professionally in human resources. And so getting more involved in creative writing and working with artists and working with publishers and storyboarding and those sorts of things was a really interesting departure for me. I really enjoyed it. And it gave me the opportunity to explore something that I hadn't really thought of before, but I figured, you know, if it was something that I wanted to do, and if other people have obviously done it, right? There are plenty of published children's books out there. So why can't I do one? So I did. And that was published to Amazon and some local bookstores here just in the last couple of months. And so after I successfully completed that, it kind of opened my eyes to what else I might be able to do. And so I started to give that some thought. And I think like a lot of folks, when I was going through high school, I was very interested in computers and video games. And I found myself playing a lot of role-playing games, things like Shadowrun and the Zelda series, right? Link to the Past and things like that, starting on the Super Nintendo when I was a kid. But getting into high school, thinking that I might have some desire to be a computer programmer and get into programming, I took a lot of computer courses. Obviously, that's not where my career ended up going. I ended up getting into other things. But I kind of always thought that I would still want to make a video game. And I think at the time, my thought process around what the career was very limited. I think like a lot of kids, when you're in high school, you don't really have a conception of what your job is going to be or even what kinds of jobs are available once you get out into the real world, right? I started my traditional corporate career in payroll, and I don't think anybody grows up and thinks that they're going to work in payroll when they grow up. It's just not something you really even think is a job, right? It's like, well, of course people get paid, but that's right. That's a whole job and a whole career. And I think when I started thinking about video games, especially when I was younger, I was very limited in my perspective of what sorts of jobs existed in the industry, right? I was very focused on being a programmer. To be frank, I didn't really enjoy programming. The more I got into it, the more I learned about it. It wasn't something I enjoyed doing. And so I kind of thought that whole career path was closed to me. When really, now that I'm a little bit older and I have more exposure to the wider industry of work, it's very apparent that programming is not the only job that you can have in the video game industry, right? There are artists, there are game designers, there are project managers, right? A video game, although it may be a fun and interesting project, is still a project that needs to be managed like a business. You know, it's an information technology product that happens to be a software application in a video game. But it's, you know, I hadn't really thought about it in those terms before. And so because I've been involved quite a bit in my career in IT project management, in people management, and in project management in general, I didn't think it was a really huge leap for me to be able to go into video game design. And while I may not be able to get a job in the industry working for a bigger studio, because I'm more comfortable in my family life and my personal financial life and in my career, I had some extra money kicking around, and I thought, you know, what better way to use it than to do something really interesting and engage and work with people who have some complementary skills, who can help me deliver a video game product and help share the wealth, so to speak, and create a project that we can all be really proud of. And so Part of that whole process for me and for what is now the studio, although there's only a few of us, is to share that whole process with everybody else, right? How did I go from I had the idea to have a video game to I'm actually producing a video game? I mean, hopefully one day we'll be on Steam. We're still in, like I say, we've only been doing this for a few months, so we're still in the very initial concept stages. But part of what we wanted to share was how this process works, so that if there are people out there like me who maybe thought that it was something they would like to do, or who were interested in learning more about the industry, right? Whether you're just, getting out of high school and trying to figure out what you want to do, or whether you're more middle-aged like I am and more settled in your career, but looking for something more interesting and more engaging, or maybe a little bit different than what you're used to. We wanted to be able to explore what it was like and sort of let you in on the process of developing a video game, so that you could understand it and make a decision for yourself about whether or not it was something you wanted to do. And at the same time, I think it's a really engaging thing for our fans that, one day if we're on Steam or on the console market and we're actively selling our product, I think it'd be really nice for our fans to be able to engage with us and understand how we got there, right? And be able to participate in that development process with us. So I'm really looking forward to having you with us. Again, my name's Isaac, and I look forward to continuing to talk about the project. Thank you.